Hey folks, it's Lachlan here again, speaking to you as always from just outside of Durban, South Africa. One of the most constant criticisms that I tend to face for the content I make, because I talk about the politics of this country, is that I'm always being very critical of the so called black parties, those being the ANC, the EFF, and the MK. And I don't criticize the so called white party, the DA. For those of you who don't know, I'll just give a brief rundown. DA stands for Democratic Alliance, and what the Democratic Alliance is essentially a classically liberal center left political party. For most of South Africa's democratic history, it has been the major opposition party in our parliament. Now, however, it is a member, in fact, the second largest member of what is known as the South African Government of National Unity, which is, in theory, a coalition government involving the ANC, the DA, and several other smaller parties. Now, as to the claim that I don't criticize the Democratic Alliance enough, I'm going to explain why it might seem that way. The Democratic Alliance is a lot more difficult to criticize than the so called black parties because of all the parties in South Africa's government. The DA has the best records of returning clean audits when it comes to annual municipal management. However, that doesn't mean that I support them or that I agree with their policies. I am not a DA supporter and I have not been for many years. The reason for this is that I can understand and even to a degree relate to how black South Africans feel when they say that the DA talks down to them. Because you can see it if you pay attention to the things that they say and the ways in which they behave. The national leadership of the DA lives very much in a wealthy upper middle class to upper class bubble. And although it is statistically untrue that they are a white party alone based on their voter base, they do act very white in how they project their image. And this is a major reason why I don't believe they will ever be the savior of this country. You see, I think of it in these terms. The members of the DA, and by members I mean, as I said, those in national management, they live in what I think of as the Cape Town and Johannesburg bubble. They are very fond of going to large conferences and press events and gala dinners and giving fancy speeches and bemoaning the very obvious failings of the ANC and other political parties. But especially since joining the government of national unity, the DA has shown itself to be a chihuahua as compared to the ANC, which is a pit bull. In the GNU, the DA is supposed to be an influential member with real power to influence what happens and does not happen in our government. But to date, the DA has not been able to stop any significant laws or any budget amendments that the ANC has wanted to pass. They may have done a better job at an individual municipal level, running basic services and whatever. But nationally speaking, they seem weak, spineless, and somewhat cowardly, and they seem more concerned with being treated with respect and being shown dignity and decorum by the ANC than with actually getting anything done. So I don't think that they will ever be powerful enough to deal with the things that need to be dealt with in this country. Every time that the ANC goes behind their back and forces something through without their approval, they hold press conferences asking to be treated with respect and to be given the authority they deserve as a large partner in the GNU. The DA has existed for decades, and yet they still don't seem to realize that this is Africa and these are African politics. If you are unable to play with the ANC on its own terms, then the ANC is always going to outplay you. That's just a fact. And so, as always, what I think is that if South Africa has any future at all, it will not be given to us by the politicians of today. In fact, I don't think the solution to our problems is primarily political at all. It's going to come down to ordinary South Africans sorting things out on our own. As always, I hope you find some value in this content. Look after yourselves, take care of each other, and for now, farewell.